Like I said, when I do lectures at universities and at other lodges, I go right back on my YouTube page and Instagram, and I try to recap things so we can be valid, so we can be saying the same thing. So my YouTube page is free. It's Kari Adna Hakeem Goodman Bay, and you can go on there for lectures, all free. I don't charge for nothing. You know, I've written literature, and I ask for a donation because I'm a real organization. So before I even talk about my literature, let's finish this topic. So as we were finishing, we were talking about nationalizing the right way and about illuminating certain things. I'm not here to talk about different camps because I'm on a positive vibration. But I tell everybody, if you're doing things, you should ask as many questions that you can come up with. Just like when you're dating, or just like when you're courting someone, or just like when you're trying to find a house or a car. Don't put that, how can I say, don't put less effort into your nationality and into your holy divine creed. And you put more effort into looking for some, how can I say, material. We're trying to save ourselves. So any confusion, Moors, you should ask. We're not misnomers. We got to understand this. I have the history. If you don't understand history, research the forgotten cause of the Civil War, a new look at slavery issue. If you can't find this literature, I have all historical books. I print my own books, but I have all historical books. I mean, the 103, I mean, it's so much things about 103 amazing facts about the Black Indian of the Western Hemisphere. When I tell people about misnomers, when I tell my Latino, so-called Latino brothers and my Mexican, you are Aboriginal. You are Aboriginal. You are native to this land. When I tell my brothers and sisters, research the doctrine of discovery. We have to study real law and things that were, certain things were law. And so you have to study law. I'm a doctoral student studying indigenous people law and policy. So I'm telling Moors, Christianity and Catholicism or catechism was the same thing, Moors. You got to study this science, man, and get out of your feelings. Get out of your feelings and get into history, law, and civics, and operate on love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health. And then you operate totally 720. And you're not operating 360 under your own physical manifestation, Moors. So where we stopped at? Okay, I gave you the Muslim paperwork that comes in our dispensation paperwork that comes when we nationalize through the temple. Islam. So after I gave you that information, one of my Moors, because I'm on YouTube too. One of my another Moors is like, man, can you say that again? More, it was a how can I say this? We have to be careful who we listen to, no matter if they say they Moors, if they got a fez on, a turban on. You have to be willing to do the research, and everyone's not willing to do the research. You may have some that try to get you with their religious dogma. And Moors, this is more science. This is a synchronicity. So we understand all the religious acts. And then when I talk about the triple role of the adapt chamber, that's the Parsalit rite. That's the Fatima rite. And that's the Judaism rite. We must understand all three of these as synchronicity, the essence of all things, Moors. When I tell Moors, if we say we from the lineage of the David, tribe of Judah, you must study these books. It just was presented to you the wrong way. And that's why most of my lectures are on academia, because I don't get caught up in a person feeling. I don't get caught up with a person feeling. I tell brothers and sisters, when you do research, no wisdom, no science came from the West. It all came from the East. Adam Blavatsky, those mystics, that's no science. She was taught by a Bey. If you research this history, it'll show you she was taught by a Bey. All encyclopedias, when you've been taught in school who was the greatest thinkers in the world, from Plato to Socrates, Aristotle, all BS. I did my dissertation on this, destroyed the encyclopedias. And all you have to do is keep asking questions. It's there, man. So, also, this is our amnesty oath. This is just other, when I show more, it was things on back of our identity cards that mean things. So if you're going to be nationalized through some publication, I'm not here to bash no publication. You're supposed to be counted as the body politic with Moors in general, something that's older than me, older than our parents. So I'll read the fee simple absolute first, our decree. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali to register all nobles of the house of Bay to their title of nobility, pursuant to Leviticus 25 and 10. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Americans are of the royal house of Judah, descendants of King David. So when my brothers, they're going around and they call themselves Hebrew Israelites, I'm not here to argue with brothers. But those are still misnomers, Moors. One nationality, many cultures. So we must do etymology. We must do etymon. We must break things down. Indian, that's a root word. What's the root of Indian? Indigo. That's a color. Just like when we talk about human, the human, man of color. So when we break things down, we can see some truth in things. But then we must understand the both colors of both things. When I say words have duality, you must understand reality of words, the positive and the negative, and understand the context of how a word is being used to navigate the correct way, Moors. So, fee simple absolute D, the inhabitants of Africa and the descendants of the ancient Canaanites are from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father, Moors. Why you thinking the scripture, man? It says no Moabite or let me find that scripture. I wrote it down for myself. For one of my brothers that, like I tell more, I study all books from the Tabbathon to the religious books. I have all the missing script, the books of the Bible, all the books. I have to find that scripture. When it says from the Novus Testamentum, the European writers that wrote some of the New Testament is talking about no Moabite can enter the gates of heaven. Deuteronomy 23 and 3. No Moabite or Amorite may enter assembly of the Lord. So you got to know that's BS. You got to know how to navigate. And I tell Moors, certain things is not all the way wrong. You just been interpreted the wrong way and a person been teaching you wrong. Miseducated. It's just facts. So let's see. The inhabitants of North Red, descendants of the ancient Canaanites and from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. When they talk about some fake curse of Ham, when you go to these religious churches, they say the curse of Ham. It ain't no curse of Ham. It ain't no curse of Ham. But I can show you in the religious scriptures that a person's skin was cursed, turned white per se, or pale as leprosy. Not only themselves, but they're all generations. Europeans that were turned that way, those were Moors that were turned that way. From turning back on forefather. So no one's skin was turned pale, will turn black for punishment, but it was turned pale. And those were indigenous people. I hope y'all know this. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line or the divine line, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. Moors, y'all got to know what analogy is and symbologies. When I talk about when people get so talk in the 12 tribes of Israel, Moors, but you got to understand the SO and exoteric, because if you get into the science, what's up, Corey? You letting people getting you caught up like you so privileged talking about some tribe. And we're talking about one nationality with many cultures. In history, the only nationality is Moors. Right, Moors? Come on. So you got to know this science. And in the later maps, in the later years, their brethren of Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. You got to remember and research the America BC before everything was all dispersed. It was easy to get to and fro. It was easy to get from north, south, east, and west because we got on the boat, the river Nile, Moors. Nothing was separated. I hope we know this science. The Moabites. You see how they gave that scripture, how the European tried to say you can't inherit the land? The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received their permission from pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit in northwest Africa. They were the founders and the true possession of the present Moroccan Empire, Moors. They were of the present Morocco Empire. Their dominion and habitation extended from north, east, south, west Africa, across the Atlantis, even to the present North, South, and Central America. Also to Mexico. That's why I tell us it's a Mexico. And the Atlantis, the islands before the great earthquake, what I was just talking about, which caused the great so-called Atlantic Ocean. Research a book called American BC. I don't want to pull all my books out and research this. when I talk about Pangea. Moorish, we got to remove the hate. One nationality and many cultures. That 12-step ladder or some 12 tribes of Israel, the esoteric meaning is that 12-step ladder, right? Our workman tools. I hope we know this science. It's perfecting yourself. This is the esoteric science. We talk about master craftsmanship. You got to know the SO and the XO. Or you're not navigating the proper way, Moors. Brothers, it's confusing, brothers. Oh, well, you better understand about 501c3 and business. How you going to do business? Brothers talk about, I got a, what is it called? GoFundMe. Fool, that ain't no business. You got to understand we were lied to. Moors don't even understand the dynamics of 501c3 all the way to 501c10 because they don't understand business and commerce. When I tell brothers, I'm a business, I'm a contractor, and I have my own non-for-profit. I get things donated to me. In my little city of Flint, Michigan, I reside in Arizona right now, but I'm from Flint, Michigan. I buy houses in my neighborhood for pennies because I'm a non-for-profit, and the city of Flint give me property. We're going to create a whole charter community, prayfully, in my neighborhood and build gardens. How you going to do it if you're not a business? Talk to me, Moors, because you getting spookism, and Moors do not know business. Every Moor got a job, and then the Moors you don't do this. They all filing taxes because they don't know business. So that's going farther with what I'm saying. But if you're not organized, and if you're not organized the right way, and even if you're not a Moor, if you're from a community, how you going to do work in your community? How you going to get buildings donated to you? How you going to do work? How you going to have your brothers and sisters and even your family members that's in a higher tax bracket to donate to you, to do work in the community? Talk to me, because Moors not. They just talking, saying what it is and what it's not. We're supposed to be changing our infrastructure, ourselves and our community, teaching our babies, our children, our wives, fallen humanity, what we knew late now, showing these kids that you are a business. When I teach at the hardest in these schools out here in Arizona, when I teach about establishing your kid credit as a business young, and when they graduate out of high school, they already have established credit at an entity. They don't have to use their own personal credit. But then you let some Negro, black, color, some brother telling you all about this and they don't know business. If you go on my page, on my temple page, the Burning Bush Science Temple page, I do soccer camps out here in Arizona every year free. Gatorade sponsor me. A lot of Adidas sponsor me. None of those things would be done if I wasn't a nonprofit or a 501c3. And then you let brothers tell you about business and they don't even have businesses. They're not telling you all of it. If a person tell you something, they have to tell it all to you. And some are not willing to take the time to do it. And I am a business. I have a nonprofit. I'm tax exempt for religion, organization, scientific, charitable. Meaning we can raise money just like anybody else. I hope y'all know this, and that's the way Noble Drew Ali set the temple up with an affidavit. That's why he set it up as a religious organization. That's why we have a tax exempt number. But Moors are confusing it because they're going through other platforms, and brothers not telling the all truth. We have a tax exempt card with our ID. We have a tax exempt card with our ID, Moors. We have a tax exempt card with our ID. I don't know what Moors talking about, because they're not nationalized through the temple. It breaks it down. If you don't have it, Noble Drew Ali, he signed the affidavit in the county of Cook. I give all the information. We don't have to argue with nobody. Just break the facts down. The Moabite from the land of, okay, I gave you that. This is do you know what a oath of amnesty? United States of America, Free National Republic, 1774, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, 1863, amnesty oath. Research what an amnesty oath is, Moors. I, Khari Goodman Bey, do solemnly affirm in the presence of Almighty God that I will henceforth faithfully support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Union of the States thereunder, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all acts of Congress passed during the existing rebellion with reference to slaves, so far as not repealed, modified, or held void by Congress or by decision of the Supreme Court, and that I will, in like manner, abide by and faithfully support all proclamations of the President made during the existing rebellion, having reference to slaves so long forth as not modified or declared void by the decision of the Supreme Court. So help me God. Oath of amnesty. Oath of amnesty. So when you're nationalizing through these publications, if you're not asking these questions, that's your fault. Somebody telling you to fill out on your own, that's your fault. You should be asking all the questions. 720 dispensation. 720 dispensation. 720 dispensation. I'll read it to you. We, the Supreme Grand Body and Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, deriving his powers and authority from the great God Allah and his prophet Noble Drew Ali, whom Allah has sent to redeem his people, the fallen sons and daughters of Asiatic nation of North America. The said Supreme Grand Body and Council is authorized and empowered to initiate and confer degrees of said temple upon any person or persons duly proposed, qualified, and approved in accordance with the established forms, usage of the laws and edicts of the illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Its jurisdiction to administer to all true members all the privilege and benefits to all Muslims of the West. Noble K. Goodman Bay. So if you're doing things other platforms, who's giving them the jurisdiction to administer all true members, the privilege and the benefits to Muslims? Who? If we going around talking about Noble Drew Ali this, we got on shirts saying we under the prophet this, who? And then we go on other avenues to nationalize. That's just like getting an expensive knockoff. That's nigger stuff. That's niggardly stuff. You want to go get a cheap knockoff because somebody did something because they don't want to do the work. They say, "Oh, I established something," and then when you ask questions, they won't answer it. What politic? What body politic? Where you sending your paperwork to? Are you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America that's established in the county of Cook? Are you? You should be asking those questions when you do things with other groups. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, if you don't do nothing, if you go to a temple and it's not right, get nationalized. I give you all the information to send your paperwork in. If it's not a temple in your area, I give the information. Come on, man. 720 degrees is hereby granted dispensation of said depth as here to the vast estate. When I talk about 360 is the total sum of material wisdom. Look, Morris. Not, we got to teach this science before we can all know. Before we can know this science. When I say 360 is the total sum of material wisdom, but 720 is the total sum of material and spiritual wisdom. We must master our higher self. All these are signs and symbols of the primordial man, the Ma and the sun, the mother and the moon, and they're coming together, creating life. The G, the square and compass, the Gnosis, understanding the spiritual mysteries. You measure the compass and the square on everything. You measure the compass and the square on everything more. That's how you measure yourself. Those 12 disciples of the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 functions in your brain, every constellation have 3 deacons. You got to know the science. You got to know what the boy mean down and break it down. You got to know this. Biological youth organism, your own universe. You got to know the signs and symbol. What Egypt spell out. The E is 5, the G is 7, the Y is 7, the P is 7, the T is 2. That equals what? 4 sevens. You right? Look at the science. Look at the science. When I talk about the circle and the square, that's the 360. You got 90, 90, 90, 90. And then when you get the circle, you draw a line down through the middle, draw a line across. You put the circle in the middle, you got 90, 90, 90. That's how you circle the square. Different diameter, but same level or same degrees. The Quran, knowledge, order, rhythm, astronomy, astrology, nature. This all about you. This all us. Generator, operator, destroyer, that's God. Islam, I, self, law, and master. You got to talk, you got to understand your chakras. This is all in you, Moors. This all science. It's all science, and we playing. We mastering our higher self. This is a holy and divine and nationalization movement. So if Moors ain't keep teaching you no science, talk about all I'm dealing with is the civics. Well, what civics? Because civics ain't you running talk about you finna file some paperwork like you finna get something free. That's BS, Moors. The vast estate, you don't even know what the vast estate is. Noble Drew Ali. We trustees. I keep telling Moors, in law, there's no excuse of not knowing the law. So when you go to court and you saying something that's been void or that's not even valid anymore, you the fool. Like for instance, Moors arguing over some capital name. Moors, but is that your name? Yes, but it's in caps. But is that your name? Yes, that's my name. That's how it's spelled, but it's in caps. So you lost. Why? Because you just said that's your name. Dumb. My name is spelled in lowercase and caps. You have to understand what all rights reserved mean. You got to reserve your right just like anybody else, Morris. This is the science that we teach. It's certain things that's done in law that protects yourself. You must understand the full color of law. We must understand the full color of law, Morris. We must understand it. We must understand it. Morris just playing. It's only a selected few that's willing to do the work. And I'm not here to say the brag them, but this is my life. This is my craft. I'm a teacher. And I give all the information for you can study and ask questions. And if you don't ask the questions, is that individual fault. You suppose the only way to beat the fire is to go in the fire. Anything worth having should take work. I mean, look at the work that they put for indigenous people. To strip you from your nationality, say you're a Negro, black color. Look at all the different years it changed. Look at all the fake holidays. Look at all the things that was threw at you. Look at all the misnomers. And you telling me you're not going to put the same effort to deprogram that stuff? And I give you the information. Nothing is hidden. Nobody hid nothing from nobody. All this stuff is in the doctoral libraries. And I have all the information. I'm part of the Philosophical Society as well in California. And I have all history books, law books. We've been taught wrong. It's just facts. All Europeans, all science, they went to the East. Period. All science. When they talk about the mystics, Adam Blavatsky, all them, all taught by Moors, all taught by Bays. Facts. You can go on my older lectures and research, and I give you all the books and document to find it. So when Moors say they don't study and read, that's sad. That's sad. Okay, so 720 is hereby granted dispensation of said debt as the hero of the vast estate and express trust of Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the domain of Kush North. I gave you all that. And what the father domain of Africa, old man Kush, blah, 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 of the pursuant to U.S. Department of Justice, BM, HR 1WD 144-35-0. That was the agreement. I'm about to give you that nationalization info 1 second. Here go my noble decree. Listen to this, Moors. We, the Supreme Grand Body and Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, grant sovereign powers by the great God Allah and his illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali. Greetings to who it may concern. By the powers of the Charter of Warren and dispensation, this Supreme Grand Body bestow a title of nobility to member Kari Hakeem Goodman Bey, that is descended from the royal house of Judah and the house of David. What? Yeah. By the powers of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet Noble Drew Ali, agents of the Christian Church, which is the Vatican, or any other corporations in the Roman Curia, can't molest, trespass, or violate our divine rights granted by great God Allah. Moors, when I tell people, when a person trying to shove Islam down your throat, you got to back away. I study everything. Research one of the books that was took out the religious Bible called Gad and Seer, and they tell you how Islam and Catholic pretty much the same. You got to do geographic and geography. When Allah walked the earth, excuse me, not Allah, but when Muhammad walked the earth, that Muhammad, it was under the Byzantine Empire. See who he married? Khadijah, who was her cousin, Wergwa, a high Roman priestess. Connect the dots. You can't get mad at me. This is not our Islam. This is American Islam. I mean, get a book, Islam for Dummies, where there ain't no bias. It tell you exactly. I'm going to show you all this. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, to register all nobles of the house of El to their title of nobility pursuant to Leviticus 25 and 10. By the power of this decree, it is so ordered and commanded by our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, pursuant to authority, all Moorish Americans are exempt from prosecution except for murder and rape. But you got to understand what that means, Morris. You got to understand what that means. That's why I said we must study this craft, man. Understanding the importance of jurisdiction. Understanding the importance of jurisdiction, Morris. I'm going to jump through this a little bit, and you got to have this. The benevolence of proclaiming the Moorish Science Temple as the founded by Noble Drew Ali is a resurrection of the ancient Comedian Moorish Adapt mystery system. If you look at your Quran, when it says what? This remind me of my workman tools, chapter 5 more of your Quran. Let's see. I mean, if we're going to do the work, we got to do it the right way. You are the master craftsman. I'm telling you, you just got to be taught the right way and be willing to learn it. And if you're not willing to learn it, man, then that's a whole nother issue. Let me find it. All right. Where you at? Oh, no, that ain't it. Where'd it go? All right, chapter 5. One day, verse 12. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for it, he said, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in our workmanship, of the mind, Moors, where things are made of thought and where we build up character. Where else that is? That's in our Comedic and Adapt too, Moors. I think I must have put it away, but I got it on the shirt. When I talk about our 7 Comedic principles and that 12-step ladder, it say the same thing. I hope you understand the science. This remind me, let me see. Matter of fact, I know I gotta go. Let me see. Come on, man. We got to connect the dots more and stop playing. Here we go. The Comedic Adapt Manual and use of the carpenter tools. I just told you what it was all about, right? I said the resurrection of the ancient Comedic Moorish Adapt mystery system. Right? So let me read it back to you again. I just read it in our Quran. I ain't gonna break down every tool, but it says we use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way and make our corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless. We use the plane, blah, blah, blah. Verse 21. And on the 12-step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of the perfected man. That 12-step ladder is building yourself. Just like the analogy or the parable or the symbology of the so-called 12 disciples. In our Comedic and Adapt manual, these tools remind us of the ones we have in our workmanship of the mind, where things are made of thought and where we build up the character, right? And on that 12-step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of the perfected man, right? Right, Morris? See? That perfected man, that temple of the perfected man is there. So if Morris not saying the same thing I'm saying, you should tread lightly and ask me your questions. So let's see. Where we at? Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it is, okay. The MST of A is to be of America and the said Moorish American government. It is not a religion. It is not a secret society, not a court, nor even be a Moorish science temple of the United States of America, but of the indigenous continental Americas. See Act 5. Nevertheless, in behalf of Drew Ali's MST of A, it has been the existing condition since July 20th, 1929. Its members and officers have not fulfilled the founding purpose, the uplifting of fallen humanity. That's on us today. It will remove the interchangeable labels of Negro, Black, African Americans from the judicial bonds of the 14th and 15th Amendments, hence ending all racism, ethnic and religious discrimination, and social political jousting in arenas of nationalism. No need for affirmation of affirmative action programs, bigotry congressionally granted voting privileges or segregations or racial profiling. No need for all that stuff. You got to know this. The first American national government, the Grand National Seal, the Grand National Emblem. I'm going to show you all this because we're almost done. Then I'm going to read to you how Noble Drew Ali set the temple up. Then I'm done. The proclamation of status and jurisdiction of the Moorish Americans. Proclamation of status. If Moors want this, I have the information. Moorish American nation versus United States of America, United States of Congress, United States Supreme Court. Averment of jurisdiction. I showed this. I said I got to do repetition so we can be the right way. Noble Drew Ali set the temple up a certain way. The Moorish American birthright of independence. The United States in her infancy bears witness that no nation will be free to live outside its creed. Personify the grand principles and attain unlimited capacity of the development while under their yoke, laws, and tyranny of another government. Neither have the Moorish Americans been free to be themselves in the 140 years since 1865 of their emancipation from the Negro chattel slavery, while under the assumable jurisdiction of the U.S. 14th and 15th Amendments of granted privileges, separated from the rights guaranteed to all free national citizens in the body of her Constitution. I can go on and on. Now, in the name of the God, Father of the universe, Father of love, true peace, freedom, justice, the true divine and national movement of North America, listen closely. From the tribes, families, and lineages of one free Moorish American nation, one free Moorish American nation. When I say one nationality and many cultures, when you talk about you Hebrew Israelite, you this, man, that's a misnomer. One nationality, many cultures, Moors. One nationality, many cultures. One nationality, many cultures, Moors. Come on, man. But from the tribes, family, lineages of one free Moorish American nation comes forth a century of Bays, Els, Alis, Duns, Days, Zulu, Washitas, and Nuwabians, ETLs. We stand as the vanguards. I hope you know what the vanguards are. Executive rulers and official representatives, deriving our just powers in due time from the great God of our ancient forefathers in the inherent and divine autonomies to link ourselves with the families of nations. Hereunto stand, declare, and hereby affix our seals, proclaiming ourselves as one nation, bearing one free national name. So I don't care what your religion is, because Moors, we study all the religions, and you are a Moor, my Hebrew Moors, my Egypt Hotep Moors, you Moors. Come on, man. And here you got the date of birth, Eli Pleasant, all these Moors, when they dated to be nationalized, to be in the register. All these names from 1942 all the way to the 1970, and all the way up to 1948, 1971, some in the 2000s. See? Let me see that, Morris. Let me see. See? Can you see that? Look at the dates. Look at the dates. Look at the names. I mean, that's just one page. We don't have to get in calling no spookism. Look, when I ask, brother, when you nationalize through other areas, are you counted as the Bali politic of Temple of America where Noble Drew Ali established, or are you just doing something? I'm not here to argue nothing. But if you go on other platforms, I hope you have all the information. Here go when Sheikh Elu in Pleasant Bay, the great God of our God, protector and salvation through his holy prophet Noble Drew Ali, when he sent the letter to the president, Honorable George Herbert Walker Bush, office of George Bush, 1000 Memorial Drive, Suite 900, Houston, Texas, April 19th, 2006. Enclosed is the Moorish American Declaration and Proclamation. Dear Mr. 41st President, when I show you things would put on notice, the real law stuff, when stuff was put on notice. So when you nationalize through some other place and they giving you cars, anybody can give you cars, but can you look yourself up and are you part of the body politic? Research this stuff. Here go the receipt. Here go the proof of the postal and delivery receipt to President Bush. I'm telling you, this ain't no gangster Moor or some, oh, no, we noble Moors, man. We noble men. The temple was set up a certain way, Moors. Let me read a little bit through this so you can get things clear. I'm going to give you the number. Oh, I already gave you the numbers to call. The consulate, it's all on our cards. 259 North Pulaski Road, Chicago, Illinois, Republic. One phone number is 312-966-1770. The other number, 318-964-0656. Same stuff is on our cards, on the back of our ID cards, everything. All the information that I've been reading earlier about what's on our ID cards, All this is on the back of our ID. It's on the back of your ID card. It's on the back. It's on the front and on the back of this ID card. So when the Moor talking about demonstrating, a Moor should be able to demonstrate everything that's on the front and on the back of that ID card. It means something. And if any more say it don't, they lying. Period. It's something on the front and on the back of these cards, and it all means something. If it didn't, why would it be on there? I can't read it all to you. It's so much. But if you were the part of my school, you would have this. And Moors that call themselves sheiks, that's a part of a temple, they should have this information. They should have all this information. Nothing is no secret. We don't do nothing in clandestine. The Moorish eye is not surrounded by no triangle. Yes, it's sacred, meaning it's dear to our heart, and we take it serious, but it's no secret. We under our mothers, we under our divine creed. We obey our foremothers and forefathers. This is not no European masonry, where after they become 32 and 33 degrees, they become sons of Muslim and wear the fez politically and religiously. Come on, Moors. Noble Drew Ali gave you 32 and 33 degrees when he put the fez or the turban on your head. And if you're part of a temple and you don't know any degrees or any science, that's messed up. So let me give a little bit about how the temple was set up. We greet all Moors in love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, my 2 cents, health, and wealth. With honors to the great God, Allah, the Father, the universe, and his holy divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. We wish to expound on how the Moorish Science Temple of America was declared a recognized free national government throughout the earth. Sometimes as Moorish Americans in this new era of time, some struggle on explaining who we are with such an ignorant and unconscious society being based in the color of law and the concept of Christianity. But in reality, if we teach and do this great work as a government properly does, Moors, while running this ecclesiastical body politic and corporate, then people on all levels will understand by our works and deeds and may be fulfilled on the divine and national movement as well, Moors. The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated, a beggar nation cannot attain to its highest spirituality. And Noble Drew Ali said, and I quote, he will keep Europeans here long enough to teach you how to run a government. So stop stop begging for what we should be working on. Hard to retrieve ourselves. When I say it, it's some of us that do the work, Moors. Come on. I'm here. Like I said, I just did a lecture yesterday at the European Temple. Man, they bought 1,000 books because they say it's science. They know when I teach the 99 rights of Memphis and Mizraim. They know about the divine creed of Moorish Islam. They bought my books. And I'm telling Moors, man, the only reason why we confused a lot of Negro, blacks, and colors are West. And they don't understand how the temple is set up. A holy and divine creed, man. So let's finish. But he said, because the prophet is keeping the Europeans around us to teach how to run a government. This is what we should learn how to do. So this pamphlet was put together, a divine and national movement, and how to expound on our mission. And our mission is to uplift fallen humanity, Moors. That's the main mission. You think Noble Drew Ali was back then telling people to go file some paperwork and do this on their own? You got to be crazy. You think Noble Drew Ali was telling people to drive around town without some license and get themselves killed? You got to be crazy. And you don't understand state, local law? Like, for instance, some local law and some city law, the reason why people drive with license is because that city or that state or that area use that to generate funds for that area. But we going around talk about my right to travel. Yes, you have the right to travel, to do commerce. Come on, man. Y'all missing the it's a higher level, man. And that's why I said some people, you got to go through all the prereqs. Some people are in advanced civics and you ain't even went through the prereqs. And all that's going to get you is in jail and get you audited. I promise you, I know too many Moors being audited. Talk about I'm following some paperwork because I'm a Moor. I don't supposed to file taxes. I laugh. I said, Moor, you don't know law. It's a way to do certain things lawfully. All nations have missions to fulfill and will be appointed missionaries. We are missionaries to make certain that those missions, that's what a missionary is, to do a message. Why do you think those missionaries back in the day came to indigenous land? They had a mission to strip you from your divine creed. I'm telling you, man. Research the doctrine of discovery. When people talk about religion, I tell you Christianity and catechism is the same. Remove your feeling, remove your religious dogma, and research how certain things was written in law. But we got to understand this. Research why they don't tell you about some of the biggest wars in history. The war of history of the reign of Ferdinand and Isabella. It's so much stuff that they're not telling you. Everybody wasn't no slave. Everybody ain't from no Africa per se. You right here in America. Some of the slave ports is Judah. That's Africa and Mexico per se. So let's begin with a definition of a state, Moors. So we got 20 minutes. A state is a people permanently occupying a fixed territory, bound together by common law, habits, and customs, into one body politic, exercising through the medium of an organized group of government. That's the root of organization. Independent, sovereignty, all together, not individually, and control over all persons and things within its boundaries, capable of making war and peace, and entering into international relations with other communities of the globe, Moors. A political unity, concretely viewed. A state is a body politic possessing sovereignty. Are you hearing me, Moors? A state, not no individual. A state is more than one. A state is a body politic possessing sovereignty. Collectively, any body politic possessing sovereignty is entitled to be called a state. When I talk about American and citizens, you American, Europeans are sovereign. They signed a treaty, but you talk about some white, man, that ain't nothing but a status thing. But that's a whole nother topic. The people described in the state of the Moorish Science Temple would be described as the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The people of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's established on paper. So when you do things under a different publication, are you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or are you just doing something they say you doing? I don't know. But it ain't the Moorish Science Temple of America, which is your right. By definition of state, the fixed territory of our state would be the northwest, southwest, northeast, and northwest of Mexico. I just showed you all our paperwork. I just showed you what's on the back of your ID cards. It's a whole bunch of information on the front and the back. It ain't just nobody printing you no card with you a fez on it. Come on, man. The common law habits would be focused towards our practices. And chapter 32 of the Herb Smith Revised Status, I hope you're writing this down. State of Illinois, by definition of state, the character who would have independent sovereignty in our state is the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali, not you or me. Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a true sovereign. Moorish Science Temple of America is a sovereign body. We are not sovereigns, but members of a sovereign body politic and corporate. In comparison with the term state, let's now define the term body politic. Let's determine body politic. Body politic is defined as a social compact by which the whole people covenant with each citizen, and each citizen with the whole people, that all shall be governed by certain laws for the common good. Also a term applied to municipal, corporation, school district, county or city, state or public association, Moors. So when you look at the essence or the term of government, we can see that this term has connection with the term state, body politic, body corporate, and we can understand the similarities of the particular terms, Moors. Government derived from the Latin term gerbalicums, G-U-B-E-R-N-A-C-U-L-U-M-S, which is defined as a system of polity in a state that form of fundamental rules and principles by which a nation or a state is governed. Polity is the form of government, whether theocracy, federal anarchy. There are many forms of governments, but this particular America is known as a what? Theocracy. A theocracy is defined as a government of a state by the immediate direction of God, Moors, or by the assumed direction of a divinity, or the state thus governed, Moors. So, as a member of this body politic, the Moorish Science Temple of America. So when you nationalize it under some other platform, or I don't know what you part of. Ask them when you're nationalizing. Ask them, are you getting your oath of amnesty? Are you getting your Consulate of American Moors? Are you getting your amnesty oath? Are you getting your adoption papers, taking you out of chattel? Ask those things. But as a member of the body politic, we recognize the creator, God, Allah alone guides this divine and national movement. A theocratic entity differs from a form of a secular entity. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine is a holy and divine and national movement that has divine laws and holy laws that each member are to uphold and preserve if they are to earn the name of faithful, as afforded by Act 7 of the Moorish Divine Constitution and bylaws. I hope we know this. Listen, Moors, the Moorish Science Temple of America was established as a religious corporation. And I quote, I showed you our ID cards. We got tax exempt card. I use it all over. The Moorish Science Temple of America was established as a religious corporation. How? By filing the affidavit of organization, document 1010-5905, form 1099, recorded in the recorder of deeds office in the county of Cook, state of Illinois, on August 1st, 1928 AD at 2:52 p.m. At that time, through this affidavit, Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave birth to a free national government as a ecclesiastical body politic and corporate under the revised status of the state of Illinois. Chapter 36. Hold on, Lord. My Empress, hold on. Hello?
Hey,
I'm dealing with this guy, man. He messing up my jackets we getting done. We got some custom jackets we doing and some family jackets. The guy bull crapping. But let me finish where I'm at so I can hurry up. Okay. Now, anyway, the Moorish Science Temple of America was established as a religious corporation, Moors, by filing an affidavit, the 1010-5905, right? From form record 1099, record in the recorder of deeds office in the county of Cook, state of Illinois. I gave you the date, August 1st, 1928, 2:52 p.m. Through an affidavit, Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave birth to a free national government as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate under the revised status of the state of Illinois. Chapter 36, section 36. Come on. Check out the science. July 20th, 1928 was on the third day in the beginning of a new moon during the sign of Virgo. August 1st, 1928 was the day of a full moon. So it's so much stuff that go with this, Morris. The divinity and the science and the law. The Heard Smith revised status, chapter 32, an act concerning corporations, section 36, Religious Corporation Act, played a huge origin on establishing the Moorish Science Temple of America as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. How can any subordinate temple of Moorish Science Temple of America not operate under the Heard Smith revised status, chapter 32, section 36? They all should be acting under the same thing, because this act clearly states that any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious worship may become incorporated, and the matter follows. Electing is crossed out, appointing filled in. Electing is crossed out, appointed is put in, according to its uses or customs at any meeting held for that purpose. 2 or more trustees, warden or vestrymen, or such officers who plays and duties are similar to those of trustees. So when Noble Drew Ali established the temple, those sheiks was none but trustees. Now the sheik supposed to mean something. And may adopt a corporate name. Let me see. And the powers and trustees, let's listen, or such officers whose powers and duties are similar to those of trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usage and custom rules and regulations of such congregation, church, or society, and may adopt a corporate name, and upon the filing of the affidavit, as hereinafter provided, it shall be and remain a body politic and corporate by the name so adopted. I mean, let me show you where he set up the temple. So you see, you study this religious corporation act, and you got to remember when you say religious corporation, this is a holy and divine and nationality. So you got to understand the verbiage. This religious corporation act at a glance of an affidavit of the organization, which is the original form, the 1099. You will see Noble Drew Ali follow the sustainable form of the revised statute, and then expressly organize a elastical body politic and corporate, known as the Moorish Science Temple of America. By that name so adapted, family. This simple pamphlet that I'm giving you, it's gonna remove all the confusion. You know, you got to know many people, and they have it in their hearts to do the right thing. So many people might ask, how was this body politic and corporate duly established? But the answer is by filing in the county of Cook, the record of deeds office, an affidavit substantially expressed by our Prophet Noble Drew Ali himself being the presiding officer. He swore that the meetings of the members was held in blah, blah, blah. And having the sheiks duly appointed, anointed, and consecrated. This instrument is well known as our authority, Moors. But in reality, the title of affidavit or organization. So by definition, an organization can elude a wide range of entities, family. Organization is defined as a corporation, government, governmental subdivision, agency, trust, estate, partnership, association, two or more persons having a joint interest, or any other legal commercial entity, Moors. So I'm going to go a little deeper and I'm done. In order to organize as an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate, at that time, a church, society, or congregation, pursuant to the laws of the Hurd-Smith revised status of the state of Illinois, the affiant had to file in the office of the recorder of deeds an affidavit, substantially in the following form of the Hurd's Religious Society Act of 1872, Chapter 32, Section 36, codified by the General Assembly as 805 ILCS 110-36 from Chapter 32, Paragraph 165, Section 36. You know? So I'm going to read a little bit of the affidavit. I do solemnly swear, okay, that our meetings, blah, blah, blah. Such affidavit or a copy thereof duly certified by the recorder shall be received as evidence of the due incorporation such as congregation, church, or society. Such church or society may change its name or make other amendments, blah, blah, blah. Here goes the actual form, what he filed in a register of deeds in Chicago, Illinois. I'm not going to read it all. And it says, this is the revised statute of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali's used to substantially draft out the affidavit of organization recorded in the County of Cook Record of Deeds Office. He swore this affidavit of organization to be himself, signed as Drew Ali, but finally as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, ALLI. Take time to understand he acted as a private person or private juridical in the form of two characters, Moors. And I'll explain that later about appointing persons as sheiks. We got to understand that. But the Moorish Science Temple of America derived its powers and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America. It's so much. You got to understand what a rule is, an establishment, standard, guide, or regulation. So I'm going to stop right there, man, and we'll pick up tomorrow on what we'll start on what the fee absolute is defined as, and the state limiting absolutely to a man and his hearers as assigned forever with limitation and condition. So we're going to stop right there. We're going to talk about what that, we're going to pick up with that. Or let me see. Yeah, we'll pick up with that. We'll pick up actually with the rule. So I love you all, Moors. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Islamism.